felt more sadness and remorse and distraught over that man's assassination than we black people did. Me, for one, I could care less about Dr. King. In fact, he was a nuisance as far as I was concerned. He had no real bearing in my life until he was assassinated. And when I sat down in front of my television set and watched his life go by me, and watched how white people in particular, in this white-dominated country, loved this man, or at least cared, I began to realize, oh, then I guess I need to care about Dr. King too. And to this day, white people care more about Dr. King and are trying to emulate his ways than we black people. We don't respect Dr. King, because if we respected Dr. King, we would have never voted for Barack Obama based on his skin color. If we respected Dr. King, we would not be having riots with each other at the end of Kingdom Day parades in this country. If we respected Dr. King, we would not have made a national holiday supposedly honoring him when he told us, don't do that. We don't respect Dr. King because we're continuing to kill each other. So the healing aspect begins with honesty. Honesty. Over the last 45 years since Dr. King was assassinated, whenever there was an incident between a black person and a white person, or a police officer and a black person, the black person is killed or beaten up or whatever, the issue of race comes up in this country. We debate it. There's all these special programs on how bad off black people are. And then the next thing is people like Jesse Jackson turned it into a lecture from him and blacks about the racism of white people and slavery and how you white people need to get yourselves together. And you know what white people do? Bow your heads, you acquiesce, okay, well, all right, I'll be politically correct. And what has that gotten us after 45 years? Barack Obama, Muslims, and illegal aliens. You see, that has got to stop. And I'm telling white people, I want you to heal. The sentence activity. Because if you don't heal, we're going to lose our country. Stop walking around here with your chins on your chest. You are a great people. You have given more to blacks, to Africa, to Asia, to India, to South America. You have given more to Europe than any other race of people in the history of the world. You're not perfect? Of course not. But it's time that the rest of us so-called people of color, which I can't stand that word, that terminology, we black folks need to honor, respect, and acknowledge the wonderful accomplishments that white folks have done in this country and in the world. And the final point on this thing is white people. This is a great misnomer out there. It's been said that white people enslaved black people. That is not true. We have it in our heads that, Clay, you and I were one day living in harmony. And then one day, you decided to turn yourself into a devil, brutalize me, and put me in chains. And my struggle ever since then has to get out of these chains, get revenge, and to conquer you, i.e., black power. That's not the truth. But it has marred the way, particularly our young people look at America and look at white people, that you're the enemy. When the enemy is ourselves. We did it to ourselves in Africa. And we have got to acknowledge our role in slavery. We've got to acknowledge our role in racism. Otherwise, the more we pray to God and Jesus and ask him to bless us, the worse, as you notice, we are getting as a people. Why? Because we are in denial, and we're telling God to bless us, while at the same time we're accusing our white brothers of doing something they did not do.
You know, they on the chat room, I've got some interesting comments here. Truth Pilgrim says that Martin Luther King was assassinated for speaking out against the Vietnam War. You can't mess with the war machine without being assassinated. The war machine is the money maker of the bankers. And the race issue is a distraction to keep us from focusing on the debt slavery we're all under. The banksters enslave everyone.
Absolutely. I got no problem with that. However, in my opinion, because I'm very limited in my scholarship, in my opinion, the mistake that Dr. King made was getting involved in that war issue. He should have stayed out of it. He should have kept his focus clear on healing the nation first and foremost. The reason that nations or bankers or whatever you want to call them are able to raise armies because the people don't have their act together. I don't care. If you come to me and you say, Ted, you know, let's go rob a bank, dude. You know, we need to get some money here for our cause. And if I go and rob the bank and get in trouble, guess who's at fault here? Me. Why? Because I allowed myself to be talking to something that I knew was not going to work. I was insecure in my own existence. And if we're tired of wars that this country gets involved with, or wars that are started over there between other people, if we're tired of these wars, then we, the people of the United States, need to really get a hold of our own soul, get ourselves healed. And then when they say, let's go to war, we say, well, General, see ya. Have fun.
You know, I made the statement, Ted, that back in the 60s, you know, some of us so-called hippies were sitting around smoking a joint, and we stopped the war in Vietnam. We got together and we spoke out against it, and we stopped it. And the war in Vietnam was illegal. There was no Gulf of Tonkin incident. The war in Iraq's illegal. There was no weapons of mass destruction. And in Afghanistan, you know, our brothers, yours and mine, both of whom swore an oath to defend the Constitution, are over there protecting the Britishers' opium poppy fields. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, again, no, it isn't right. No, as far as I'm concerned, no wars are really right. No wars are right. And we, the people of the United States, based on our Constitution, based on Declaration of Independence, based on our Judeo-Christian ideals, need to get our act together so that I believe the American dream was not just something for American people, citizens of the United States. I believe the American dream was for the world, but it had to, first of all, be actualized right here in the United States, particularly around the issue between black and white, this issue of slavery. Here's another point on slavery, folks. The United States did not institute slavery of black folks in this country. The United States did not do it. The United States inherited slavery on July the 4th, 1776 from the British Empire. That's where we got it from. Though we did not as a nation inflict the original wound, and though the Brits did not inflict the original wound, actually we blacks inflicted the wound ourselves in Africa. Even though that is the case, we, you know, when you buy the house, you take the good and the bad with it. Okay? We take the good and the bad with it. We have not healed that wound that we inherited. The day that we heal that wound is the day that the American dream becomes actualized. And when the American dream becomes actualized, we can then export that to other countries where they don't have to be warring with each other about, most wars are about things that happened generations ago. Most wars, ever since the world has been local people who don't like each other based on something happened to ancestors a long time ago. You see, and that's where the United States keeps finding itself involved in Iraq, Afghanistan, whether we're in Iraq or Afghanistan or not. Guess what? Those people will still be fighting with each other. Why? They're not fighting about something that just happened yesterday at the dinner table. Big disagreement there. They're fighting about things that happened between their ancestors long before they were born. And no one yet has figured out how to heal generational wounds. This is where I'm coming from. You cannot end war with war. You got to end war with healing of the wounds. If I got a toothache and I'm in pain, and you come start talking to me, dude, I don't want to hear what you got to say right now because I'm in pain. And if you keep messing with me, I'm going to get offensive towards you and I'm going to hurt you. So heal the wound, world.
You know, I've said that the problem that we're faced with here, Ted, is that how do you fight evil without becoming evil? And I think that's the value of Christianity, because Jesus was the first rebel that solved that problem. He didn't become evil, and the revolution he started is still going on, bringing freedom and liberty around the world.
Exactly. and the United States is a bastion where that could take place.